1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody.
Good afternoon. It is Saturday, May the 23rd. I am Bruce Leonard, of course. Thank you for tuning in to another hour of Bruce Leonard Leans Left. While it's still legal, there's a lot going on. And as usual, it's a big day here on Bruce Leonard Leans Left because I have predicted the future not once, but twice. I always say, we predict the future on this show. A lot of people think that I'm joking, but I'm not. Because as coming on the air as of right now, Trump is surrendering to Iran, basically. Yeah, it's to capitulate, like I fucking said. It's like there's no choice in the matter. It is done. It's a capitulation or it's nothing. It's like, or he's going to go back to war, which he's not going to do. I don't believe he can at this point. They said they blew off their load. But here we go. I'll read this story to you real fast because it just happened. It just happened. Trump was actually speaking. I was listening to it. And of course, he's selling his usual line of bullshit that he didn't just capitulate, didn't give them everything that they wanted. But here we go. What's up, Blue Apollo? Hey, Laura. It says, Islamabad, Pakistan. President Trump said Saturday that the deal with Iran, including opening the Strait of Hormuz, has been largely negotiated after calls with Israel and other allies in the region. Final aspects and details of the deal are currently being discussed and will be announced shortly. Trump said on social media with no details on the timing. Like I said, he was speaking as I came on. I was listening to it right before I turned this on. Trump said on social media, no details on the timing. He said that he had spoken with leaders from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, Jordan, and Bahrain, and separately with Israel. He described it as a memorandum of understanding pertaining to peace that still must be finalized by the United States, Iran, and other countries that participated in Saturday's talks. No mention of Iran's nuclear program and highly enriched uranium, which Iran has sought to discuss later. Which is, like I said, capitulation to their demands. United States and Iran were closing in on a deal to end the war. A regional official with direct knowledge of the Pakistan-led mediation efforts said earlier Saturday after the U.S. weighed a new round of attacks on the Islamic Republic. But like I said, he's threatening. He's been threatening the whole time since they stopped the war. He's been threatening. He's going to bomb the shit out of every day, right? And he never does. So it's all talk. The official, speaking on condition of anonymity to discuss closed-door deliberations, said the parties have made significant progress, but cautioned that last-minute disputes could blow up the efforts. He said the potential deal will include an official declaration of the war's end, with 2 months of negotiations on Iran's nuclear program. Strait of Hormuz would be reopened. The U.S. would end its blockade of Iran's ports and also lift sanctions. He did not give details. Earlier, 2 regional officials and diplomats expressed hope that a final decision on the Pakistan-prepared draft could come within 48 hours as both sides review it. They spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to talk to the media. Yes, Veronica. Like I said, he surrendered. Iran, meanwhile, signaled narrowing the differences in negotiations with the U.S. after Pakistan's army chief held more talks with Tehran. And U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio told journalists in India that there's been some progress made, and there may be news later today, which is happening right now, like I said. The White House did not respond to requests for comments on the negotiations. Okay, that's NBC News, which is, well, the local channel here. And then, but this is Midas Touch. Says, Trump just claimed the Strait of Hormuz would be open under a new deal with Iran, but Iran's state-run Fars News says Tehran would still control passage routes, permits, timing, and access through the strait. And now even figures close to Trump are sounding the alarm, warning that if these reports are true, the deal amounts to total capitulation and surrender, handing Iran sanctions relief and long-term leverage over one of the world's most critical shipping lanes. He lost. What did we get out of this? Right? They get sanctions relief, right? They get the Strait, which they did not have before. And now they can just close the Strait anytime they want. We're not getting their nuclear weapons. And they don't have a nuclear weapon, but we're not getting the 440 kilograms of enriched uranium that they're holding on to. And they still retain the right to enrichment. So what do we get out of this? I saw a thing that said this weekend, just this weekend, because of the Memorial Day weekend or whatever, that people will be spending $2 billion more on gas. $2 billion. Now, and what did we get out of this? What did we get? Nothing. As a matter of fact, Iran is in a better position than they were before. Now they control the Strait of Hormuz. And they can use that to blackmail anyone they want at any time. But he had to do this because I said other countries were going around and making deals with Iran and cutting us out. That's why the Korean ships and Chinese ships been going through the Strait because they made a deal. China ran those ships through the Strait the day Trump was in China. That's to send a message. You better believe it. These people that talk about, oh, Trump's playing 4D chess. No one can understand what he's doing. It's like, yeah, because he's an idiot. There's no grand strategy about anything he does. And he's about to do the same thing in Cuba. Did you see the demonstration they had in Cuba? Right? They said people there are unhappy with the government. They don't want this government. They want change. Right? And then we start fucking put a blockade on them and run an aircraft carrier off their fucking thing. And all of a sudden they're like, fuck you. And they rally around the government. Blue Apollo says actually he's playing 5D chess, right? What is that? It's even worse. Classic taco. And people say, oh, he's the greatest steel maker in the world. And they believe it. I can't wait to talk to these Trumpers today. That's it. Jason Ben says this is Politic Live. Yeah, so I mean that's what we talk about. How I predict the future on this show, because I said if you go back, you can go back. I've been saying this for a while now. He's going to have to capitulate. There was only two choices: capitulate and give Iran what they want, so they open up the Strait of Hormuz, or go in there full force with ground troops and everything and wipe them out. And he ain't going to do that. And we couldn't wipe them out anyway. We get caught in another quagmire where people just get fucking blown up and killed constantly. It's just like Vietnam. Or Iraq or Afghanistan or any of these fucking wars. This should show you, it's what I've been saying the whole time. You can't bomb and militarily make people submit to you who don't want to submit to you. Even if you go in there, like, yeah, we can go in there, we can invade the country, we can take it over. We're not going to own the country. And they're going to kill us while we're there. As many of us as they can until we can't take it anymore and we leave. And this has happened over and over and over and over again. And we still keep falling for the same shit. Look, they got weapons of mass destruction. They're trying to make Cuba. Cuba's a threat. Cuba's a threat to the United States. That's what Marco Rubio is trying to say, that, like with a straight face on television. Cuba's a threat to the United States. Oh, if they get their hands on those drones. You think they don't have any drones? Everybody in the world's got drones now. You think they don't have any? Come on, man. You think that Cuba or any country would risk, getting annihilated off the face of the earth or bombed to shit and back by fucking send a couple drones to Miami. Like, come on, man. That's not going to happen. They're trying to manufacture some bullshit reason why they could fucking invade Cuba. Now that Trump is lost in Iran, I wouldn't be surprised if he invades Cuba because he might be able to, run them over because it's little. But I doubt it'd be the same situation. And the Cubans were saying that too. Come here, we'll kill you. So, it is what it is. Like, Trump can think he can bluster and talk all the shit he wants to talk, and we have a lot of military and a thing. And Blue Paul says, I watched the D'Souza debate Fuentes. Oh my God. How could you stomach that? 10 months ago, literally everything he said was going to happen happened. All the Trumpers are straight up. What? Plan truster? What does that mean? Explain, please. And who said? Nick or Dinesh D'Souza? Because Dinesh D'Souza is a disingenuous shitbag. One of the biggest disingenuous shitbags ever on the earth. He made a whole movie trying to say that Nazis were liberals. The Third Reich were actually liberals. We would have talked to some liberals, but they had killed them all. It's like... So Dinesh, see, Blue Paul, these people that you listen to, like I said, like to me, that's questionable. And you seem like a smart guy. It's like, why are you listening to these fucking people? Dinesh D'Souza is a shit. 2,000 Mules was such a bullshit movie that the production company that put it out had to disavow the movie. They pulled it off the fucking shelves. Because it's bullshit. Dinesh D'Souza was convicted for voter fraud. Blue Paul says plan trusters like they follow the shepherd. Right. It's a cult. That's what I'm saying. Nick's points unfolded in real time, and yet he tried to call Nick a liberal. No, it was a great debate. Nick broke him down. Well, no, I don't watch the guy. What's up, Emil? We'll just call you Emil. That's a long fucking name. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you can contribute if you want. You don't like what I'm saying. You gotta admit, though, Blue Paul, a lot of the things that I say here come true, right? I mean, I said I don't watch Nick Fuentes, but I've seen a couple clips, and he does sound like an intelligent dude. Now, do I agree with his fucking point of view? No, of course not, but... He's got to be smarter than Dinesh D'Souza. It's like, who we debated Dinesh D'Souza. It's like, yeah, you could smack him around. That's so fucking easy. It's not a real fucking opponent. That's like... I want to get to what that guy was saying, because I actually looked into it on the last episode. The guy was talking about ancestry and Jews and blah, blah, blah. And Jimmy almost left. Blue Paul says, yes, I'm very in touch. Yeah. I predicted the future again. You know what just happened too yesterday? Judge dismissed all charges against Abrego Garcia, which I said was going to happen at the beginning. Because why? Because those charges were made up. They don't have any evidence whatsoever. It was all for the TV. It's a reality TV show. They don't care. That's what I'm saying. You when you're looking at the American government right now. Yes, Clausen. Yeah, I looked into his theory. Of course, it's complete bullshit. I'm going to read onto it later because I said I saved my searches so I could read them because you can't let that kind of bullshit just go uncountered. It's like he was talking some serious bullshit. And he was made it sound, like I said, he was smooth and smart about it. It was like making me feel like, hey, maybe this guy, maybe it is true. I look into it. It's like, and of course it was not true. First of all, you have to go with the premise that, people believe that this particular corpse is actually the Abraham. And there's no fucking way to know that. I'm talking about fucking dead body from 2,500 years ago. It's like, or 5,000 years, or whatever the Bible age is. I can't even remember. It's so fucking stupid. I think it's 5,000. The Earth's only 5,000 years old. How do you know that? Because we added up all the ages of all the people that was in the Bible, and we added it all together, and it's only 5,000 years. And so therefore, that's how old the Earth is. Who can argue it? Logic like that? But anyway, like I said, here's the real question. If you're a Trump humper and you're watching this show right now, please tell me, what did we get out of this? Except for spending $1 trillion and getting gas up to $5 a gallon. Blue Apollo says, even I know the mass some of my views, if they're kind of crazy, I don't want to make people leave because I'm a radical. Hey, Blue Apollo, don't feel like I said, I'm willing to listen to people. And then, like I said, I looked into his shit and it's bullshit. But I'm willing to listen. Yes, John says 6,000 years ago, just like the dinosaurs. Hey, Merrick, I don't know the language that you're typing in. You get translate it to English so I can understand what you're saying. But still, and please, if anyone could lay out to me all these deals that Trump has made, is the art of the deal. Like, there is no deal. Don't you notice? He just bumble fucking his way through the presidency. He doesn't know what to do. Neil says we kissed Israel's ass, huh? What? No, because Israel didn't want us to stop. I told you on the last episode they had said that Trump had said he was about to make this agreement with Iran to stop the war, and that Benjamin Netanyahu was all pissed off. He's angry because he wanted us to keep going. He wanted us to bomb, but that's what I said is he put himself in a fucked up position because he shot his load. Like he's into dangerous territory as far as munitions go. You keep bombing these munitions, we're gonna get into a serious shortage of, and then we won't be able to do other things or defend, all the other stuff he wants to do, like take over Cuba. Or bomb fishing boats in the Caribbean. That's like, but remember, he's doing that too. So he's blowing up munitions that way as well. But they shot off so many bombs on Iran, they thought that they could just drop all these bombs and Iran would just quit. And when they didn't quit, now he didn't know what to do. Now he's stuck in a rock and a hard place. You don't think Iran don't know that? And if he does retaliate against Iran, now they can retaliate against their neighbors again. And they have missiles. They said they got 70% of their ballistic missiles. They still got 70% of their drones. And their drone factory is back up. They're making drones now. He lost. They lost. All the bullshit Pete Hegseth go on those press conferences and talk all that shit about being righteous and putting red, white, and blue domes over the fucking strait and all that other shit. None of that shit worked. This is a capitulation. This is, I said, to give Iran 60. We're going to talk about, what did Iran say they wanted? Right? They said they wanted the blockade dead. They said they wanted sanctions relief. And they said that we would talk about the nuclear stuff and all that later. And the Strait of Hormuz will be theirs. And what did they get today? They got sanctions relief. We'll talk to you later. They got the strait. It's like they got everything they wanted. What did Trump get? What did he get? I mean, I'm willing to listen. Like I said, any of you can chime in at any time and tell me, what did we get out of this? Except I said spending $1 trillion and you paying $6 a gallon for fucking gas and for the whole entire world's supply of oil to be fucked up. Like I said, these other countries were like, fuck Trump. They're going around his back and going to Iran and making deals to go through the strait. China didn't suffer one bit. And like I said, as a matter of fact, when Trump was over there visiting, they ran ships through the strait to show him. He ain't got no cards. Trump is a clown, and all you people that think that the world is scared of Trump, everyone has realized that Trump is a bullshit paper tiger. He's all bluster. He's all fucking talk. And if you're willing to, like I said, especially now, because now he came and attack other people. You didn't realize that Trump has bombed, like, I think 11 countries? I don't know the exact number, but since he's been president. Because he's bombed the Congo, he bombed the Sudan, he bombed some other place. He's just been dropping bombs, but they ain't making those bombs fast enough. And then he dropped the big mother load onto Iran and nothing happened. And now he's in the box. And other countries know this. It's like, hey, if you go to war now, they don't even have enough shit. And like I said, everybody's seen over and over and over again that all you got to do is outlast the United States. Now, sure, we do have the most powerful military in the world. We do have the most powerful technology. We can wipe you out. If you look at the body counts of wars, we kill way more people than they kill of us. Right? Every war. But did we win those wars? No. Why? Because they don't care about getting killed. The other people. When you're trying to take over someone else's country, it's life or death for them. It becomes a life or death situation. If you want to get inside of a country's people and change the way they live, you have to do it humanitarianly. You have to, if that's even a word, I'm not even sure if that's a word, but you get what I'm saying. You can't bomb or kill people into submission. You have to prove to them that your ideas are better than the ones that they're working with. And you have to convince them that you actually care about their future. Trump doesn't care about anybody's future. Trump cares about taking over your country and then raping the fucking resources. That's all he gives a shit about. And these people all know that. Blue Apollo says, I can't remember exactly, but like 6 more months and they would have fully restocked missile arsenals. Blue Apollo, they can build them so cheap and our interceptors are much more expensive. Yeah, no, you're talking about the drones. But they're ballistic missiles that they have, the real missiles. They still have 70% of them because they moved them all underground. And they have missile shooting capabilities. I think they said 23 missile ports on the Strait of Hormuz, and they had already opened up 20 of them. So they own the Strait of Hormuz now. Anytime they want, they can shoot a missile into the Strait of Hormuz and stop all traffic. Or they can threaten to do so and to stop all traffic. Now, this traffic's going to open up now slowly, hopefully. I mean, I hope it does. Blue Apollo says they won before it even started. All his generals told him not to. Yes. Because like I said, they don't have any strategy. He fired all the people that have real military experience. Now you got a bunch of bumblefuck, like I said, ass kissers. It's a clown show. They have all this stuff and they don't know what to do with it. It's like if a guy was 7 foot tall, but he had never touched a basketball in his life, and you go, hey, I got 7 foot tall. He's got to be a good basketball player. Get him on the team. And then he's fucking up the game because he doesn't know what to do. That's what is going on here. It's like Pete Hegseth doesn't know what to do. He was a fucking I don't even think he was a brigade commander. He's like a platoon commander of the National Guard. It's like he's firing like 5-star admirals that have been in the military for 35 years. It's just like replacing them with any guy that put a mega hat on. Neil says, I wonder if they have the means of using those missiles. They do. I just told you. They reopened 20 of the missile launcher sites on the Strait of Hormuz. And they had moved all their missiles underground. And they still have, I think they said 65 to 70% of their missiles are left. They have still. Yeah, there's mobile launchers too that you just pull the truck out, put the missile on it, drive it somewhere, and shoot it up. Again, like, if someone can tell me how this was worth it, I'd like to hear that, because I don't think you can find anybody who would tell you they didn't achieve any of the stated objectives that they said that they were trying to do, which is to degrade their missile capabilities. Still got missiles. Degrade their drone capabilities. Still got drones. Collapse the regime. Regime's still there. As a matter of fact, regime's more extreme than it was before. Strait of Hormuz, that wasn't even a thing. Now they own it. They're in big. That's it. They're in a better spot than they were before. If anything, Iran gained. Now they get a lot of their shit destroyed? Sure they did. But you don't think that they had planned this? You don't think that they had a contingency plan that the United States, what if the United States bombed the ship? Especially when Trump got reelected, you don't think that they knew that this was coming? You could see this coming a mile away. These people are just smarter than Donald Trump. Donald Trump's an idiot. And like I said, if you're sitting here trying to convince yourself that he's the greatest fucking president ever walked the face of the earth, you're just lying to yourself. He might be the dumbest president we've ever had. Ever. What with the tariff bullshit and to tearing up all the trade agreements? Where's all the trade agreements? Remember they said 90 deals in 90 days. That was a year and a half ago. There ain't no fucking deals. He went to China, he didn't get any deals. You know what happened? After Trump went to China, you know what happened? Vladimir Putin went to China. You know what happened when he was there? They signed 40 fucking agreements. 40. On trade, military cooperation, all kinds of shit. 40 deals. What did Trump do? He didn't do anything. He went there and bumbled around, had dinner, gave a rambling bullshit speech where he talked about Panda Express. And then left. It's fucking embarrassing. We are a joke. I live here. I'm an American. I don't say this, like I said, with pleasure or glee. And that's what they would say. Like if Fox News or something got a hold of this, look at this guy. He hates Americans. It's like, no, I don't hate America. I'm just not going to delude myself into thinking. John just says, oh, well, what about Hunter Biden? Yeah, exactly. But did you see what happened the other day? Hunter Biden went on Candace Owens. And they wound up like bonding. She apologized to him for dragging him through the mud. And she's like, yo, you're not such a bad guy. That's what I said before. If people could just sit down and talk. Even people who don't agree radically on things. Like he was talking, or Blue Apollo was talking about Nick Fuentes. Like if I could sit down with Nick Fuentes and talk to him, I'm sure we could have a discussion. You know, then I'd tell him I think that your views are the views of a fucking abhorrent jerk off prick. You know, but when you're face to face talking with human beings, you start to see that they're just human beings, you know, and maybe like I said, through enough dialogue, you could convince him maybe that he's wrong about something. I haven't watched him enough to see if he takes it. You know, a lot of people won't do that. They won't like try to meet people halfway. You know, they try to concede some things. Garg says, "Do you think Donald Trump is actually aiming for an American dream, or is just creating hoax at this point?" What do you mean by that? He's obviously not achieving the American dream because, like I said, people here are struggling. Consumer confidence is the worst it's ever been. Ever. He's approaching some of the lowest approval ratings ever. Stephen Kelly Belly says, I have too many alternative perspectives to be human. Or you've taken enough psychedelic drugs to open up your mind. Blue Apollo says, yes, he's very polite until people do the personal attacks, but he argues and get faith. Yeah, but I don't do that either here, do I? I mean, I like to think that I don't. I mean, I don't have hundreds of thousands of people watching, obviously, but when we conversate here, I don't. I try to listen to people. I mean, as much as I can. I don't try to personally attack people. Because see, that's what you do when you ain't got anything to say. That's why Trump's style is so old and worn out. It's like he never ever has anything to say. He's just rambling and bullshitting and lying and just like, dude. Blue Pop says he's very hyperbolic, though. Yes. I don't know. I just think, like I said, because she said, Blue Pop says, no, you don't, and that's why I stick around. Well, the show is supposed to be a show of substance. Like I said, I didn't want to just do a podcast and people go, oh, you just fucking, It's like, no, we need to have serious discussions in this country. And you're not going to do it by, just turning off half the people, unless you want to have a civil war. Because, again, that's where we are. Like I said with Iran, he only had two choices. We really only have two choices now. And this country is going to fall apart. It's going to rip itself apart. Is we have to start talking to each other and trying to figure out if there are ways that we can live together, or we're going to have a fucking civil war, or we can secede. I guess there's three options. Like I said, we can cut the country in half. But I said there's so many other problems that are looming on the horizon that we're not ready to deal with. Garg says, why is the UN stay silent on the ongoing wars? What is USNC doing? Enjoying the heat of warheads, or USNC is all about couple documents? Well, the UN has always been that's why I said about international law. International law is a joke. Israel, we break international law all the time. Putin breaks international law all the time now. Everyone just breaks international law because there's no consequences for it. As a matter of fact, Trump wants China and Russia and to all join up and fight against the International Criminal Court. Jose says, lie. What's a lie, my friend? If you're going to accuse me of lying, tell me what I lied about. Stephen Kelly says, do you use the new AI that stimulates your endocrine system and changes your brain chemistry? No. Steven says, can open up the horizon of the unseen or bake your amygdala. Right? It's a chance you got to take for enlightenment. No, I will say, I have not touched AI and I'm not going to. Beyond, like I said, what it's already intruded into your life where you can't evade it. Like now when you make a Google search, there's an AI summary at the top that you didn't ask for. It just appears. It goes, AI summary. Like I was looking for some news articles I could read. And it says, no, this AI read them all for you and tell you everything about it in one paragraph. You're like, this is why we're fucking doomed, because people aren't going to think anymore. I mean, they've already stopped thinking. I saw some people. They had a baby. The baby was like 1, maybe 2 at the most. It wasn't even 2. It was like 1. And they were like, he just loves the phone. I'm not giving him the phone. It's like, dude, you're giving the kid a phone that can't even talk. These kids are fucked. Kids gonna grow up, like I said, do Candy Crush and shit, and not fucking reading AI paragraph summaries of everything, and not learning how to think. The reason why the world is falling apart now is because I said people have lost touch with reality. They don't know how to think anymore. Everyone is programmed by whatever bubble or algorithm that you're fucking in. Stephen Kelly, like that sounds like some H.P. Lovecraft shit. You ever seen that? From Beyond? It's like, what happened to him? He used too much AI in his amygdala. It came out of his head. Came alive. It's like, it's unbelievable. But like I said, if you're giving your kid a phone, the kid can't even talk yet. To me, that's just some lazy shit. Parents say, "We're watching the movie. Here with the kid, look at the phone." It's like, if you have a baby, it's your job to raise that fucking baby, not just hand it a fucking phone and forget about it. I think that's one of the reasons why Bo Burnham is fucked up, because he was born in that time when, like I said, when I was born, there was none of that stuff. And even us, there's lots of older people like me who are addicted to all kinds of shit online, and I mean, even me, I'm addicted to posting news on Facebook. I gotta admit it. I post news on Facebook. Why? Because I want to keep people informed about what's going on. But I will agree with my girlfriend's assessment that maybe sometimes it's a little over the top. It's like sometimes I catch myself I need to just put this down. Like, I can't imagine if I had been born and they stuck it in my head, before I could even had learned to talk or anything. Garg says, so in the end, is it made just to exist on paper, right? Because what's the need if all big technology and economically advanced countries will continue to bully and keep clowning others? Yes. Yeah. It's like everything in this world. It's a big show. Like how America pretends that we're not just imperial colonizers like any other fucking like that's what we are. We broke free from Britain, but then we became them. The only difference was slavery was outlawed, so we weren't allowed to do that. But we went around the world. We fucking knocked off governments or take fucking countries and steal their fucking resources, and went to Central America, destroyed Honduras or whatever, so that United Fruit could fucking grow bananas. And like there's all kinds of shit we've done. That's how we wiped out the fucking whole Native American culture and that existed in this country before we came here, and pretend like that didn't happen. Enslaved a bunch of people. Yes, Garg says America loves to play daddy 24/7. Yes. But the thing that's funny about it is it has never really worked out for us, has it? And now they're saying that because this Ebola outbreak that's happening over there in Africa is worse than it might have been because Trump cut all that shit. He used to have people over there in programs, and they were spending money to contain that shit. Now they're saying it's not contained because we cut all the programs that the World Health Organization cut all the funding, pulled all those people out of those countries, all those doctors and shit. Now you're finding out they were there for a reason. And see, mega people don't think about cause and effect to anything they fucking do. Because if they did, they'd realize that the reason why no one will fuck them is because they're fucking jerk-offs. That's the first step to solving their problems. It's like, you see these guys online, they're so angry. It's like, why are you so angry all the time? Oh, it's no one will fuck you because you're an asshole. It's like, that's your first problem. And they want to look in the mirror and realize that you're just not a good person. You're a shitty human being. That's why they wrap themselves in Christianity and try to pretend like they're righteous and the whole world's against them. And it's like, no, that's not true. You're just an asshole. But I was listening to Daniele. Daniele sent me I gotta thank Daniele Bellelli. He sent me. He has a Patreon, but he's my friend. But I don't contribute to it. But he makes special content for the people that contribute to his show. I should contribute. I could sign up for $5 a month. I don't know why I don't do it. But and if you know people that do stuff, like I said, you could do that. I have a Patreon if you want to contribute to this show. It's like Bruce Leonard comedy on Patreon. You can sponsor the show if you'd like. Like I said, it's any amount. It's like one-time contribution or a regular contribution. It doesn't matter. And I don't ever ask people for money because it's fucking cheesy. But you could if you wanted. Anyway, So he makes all these little bonus episodes, like half hours for people that pay, and he has like 40 or 50 of them, and he was like, "Oh, did you ever listen to these?" You know, and I was like, "No, because I'm not a member of your Patreon." He's like, "Well, I'll send them to you." So he sent me this file that had 50 episodes in it, and one of them was about fascism, and just listening to him describe like the early days of fascism, like Mussolini, and then how Hitler took fascism and turned it into, gave his own twist on it, and then forced them to accept, like the Mussolini fascists weren't really anti-Semitic. Then Hitler put the anti-Semitism into it, and then if they wanted to play along with Hitler, they had to pretend like, okay, they're anti-Semites too, but they really weren't too much, but they had to for politics. But anyway, so obviously the anti-Semitism part stuck it to fascists, because fascists today are anti-Semitic for the most part. It's part of the thing. And again, I want to go back to saying, criticizing the state of Israel and what it does is not anti-Semitic. There's a difference between going, I hate all Jews and they should be wiped off the face of the earth, and saying, I don't agree with what the Israeli government does. I believe that Israel has the right to exist. I also believe that Palestine has the right to exist. It's it's not one or the other. And one, like saying one or the other out loud doesn't make you an anti-Semite that hates all Jewish people. I know lots of Jewish people, and they're great. Just like any other people, like I said. You can't get too caught up in your team identity. That's what causes the problems, It's okay to be proud of who you are, but you can't make it all of who you are, Because, or close your mind off to what other people are. Because there's lots of different views and ways to, you've never even begin to scratch the surface of the different beliefs that people have in this world. And you might hear somebody say their beliefs and go, wow, that's fucked up. Blue Apollo says fascism means we're strong together. Yeah, which his original symbol was a bundle of sticks tied together. Yes, exactly. But what it is nationalism. And like Daniele said, once you do that, then you have to find an enemy to justify your nationalism. There's someone who's a threat to you. And so you can coalesce around that. And that's what that's about. It's a philosophy of division, really. It's divide and conquer, Let's see. Neo 2 says, someone showed me an Ed Gallion pic with the Hitler stash, and holy shit, a bit similar. Yeah, but if you ever notice, it's like it doesn't matter who it is. You take anybody's face and put a Hitler mustache on it, you go, oh, they look like Hitler. You ever notice that? Hitler himself destroyed two things. Well, besides Germany and most of Europe. But he destroyed the name Hitler, right? Nobody uses the name Hitler anymore. And don't tell me that he was the only one that had that fucking name. There's lots of people who had that name. They all changed their fucking name. He's like, I'm not going to be Hitler. And he destroyed that mustache. No one has a mustache like that anymore. You ever notice that? How is he not, Blue Apollo? Please explain that to me. He merged the corporate power and the state power together. What are you talking about? Blue Apollo says he's morphed over time. That's proven because most people believe Trump is a fascist when he's technically not. Far from it. There's nothing sovereign about what he does. What do you mean by that? Sovereign. What's that supposed to mean? Did you see that they made a thing? Like now, if you're applying for a green card, you got to leave the country until it's approved. If you're applying for a green card from outside the country, you can't come here until they approve it. I don't understand. Please explain, Blue Apollo, what you mean there's nothing sovereign about what he does. What do you mean by that? Besides the fact that he broke every campaign promise he fucking made. But like I said, he merged the corporate power and the state power together. Well, I don't understand what you mean he's not a fascist. That's a definition of fascism. Maybe you guys just don't know what it is. You have an elite class of people. They got all the money. He's surrounded himself with those people. And they're inside the government now. Peter Thiel, he's put all of his AI systems inside the government. You're like, that's not fascist. Like, what do you mean it's not fascist? They're building camps and rounding people up. That's pretty fascist, don't you think? No, Trumpism is its own style of thing or whatever, but it's still at the core. It's racist, populism, nationalism, fascism. That's what it is. Now, I mean, you can feel free to try to counter the point, but I don't understand what you mean. Blue Apollo says he's using the state against the individual, which would normally be fascism, but he's run by a foreign country, so nothing he does is even for the U.S. in any way. Yeah, well, that's not true. He's running foreign policy for them, but his domestic policy, total fascism. Even General, what was his name? General Kelly, who was the chief, Secretary of Defense in his first term, said Trump is a fascist through and through. That's what he is. If he had his way, he would do it. Blue Apollo says you could argue this state is completely separate. What do you mean by that? He's paying himself with state money. Now, he's trying to. That $1.776 billion fund that he's tried, slush fund, he wants to pay off the January 6ers and shit with. That fund is malicious, really. It's like, it ain't no different than... I don't understand what you mean. We're talking about the state is separate. He's trying to use the state to prop up his regime. It's $1 billion to build that ballroom because he needs an underground bunker and all that shit. Why does he need all that shit? Yeah, because he don't plan on leaving. He's going to bunker himself up down in the basement. That's what they're doing. Snipers' nests and missiles. Yeah, I was talking about all kind of shit on there. The other day he posted this thing. It was like a golden dome over the top of the White House. That's another thing. Have you gone out to his social media feed lately, Blue Apollo? He's losing his body. I mean, like, he was already crazy before, but he posts more and more and more and more crazy shit every day. Yesterday was a picture of Greenland and him, like, his face, like, looking over the hills. It was like, hey, Greenland. It's like, what the fuck is he doing? Blue Apollo says his domestic policy is also for them. The inspired election, all the left Zions want open borders, while the right-wing Zionists want foreign workers. It's the same handbasket. Michelle Hitchcock says Trump is the third worst president of all time. When historians vote again, he will easily be dead last. Correct. You are correct. Although to me, he's already last. He's the worst president I've ever seen. Blue Apollo says, like, it's not even building the country up in any way, shape, or form. It's not good for anyone, the government included. Yeah, but it's good for him and his rich friends. Trump's net worth has tripled since he's been in office. You know that, right? And he's talking about all the oil companies are cleaning up now because of that's $2 billion extra profit just this weekend. The stock market's at all-time high, which means the 1% are doing just fine, Blue Apollo. Your mistake is thinking for 1 second that they give a fuck about you or me. He doesn't care about us. At all. Not one bit. He even said so himself. He said, I don't think about American people's finances when I'm making these decisions because he's in a deluded fantasy that he's running the world. He doesn't care about you. He's got mad grand ambitions. Only he's an idiot. Blue Ball says, I don't think he's a fascist. I think he's a businessman shark and he's incompetent when pressed. Well, what is ICE? What is all these, like I said, deportations and kidnappings and like I said, filing false charges against people with, when you can't prove them in court. Using the power of the state to come after people. Using his office to bully CBS to get rid of Stephen Colbert. Blue Paw says people around him probably talk him up so he does all their favors. Of course that's what happens. You didn't see what he went to China and Z just gave him a big show and all this shit. And then, of course you did. Of course you did, Blue Apollo. Even after all the things that they did, the people that they shot, you still supported it. Why? Why do you support it? Why do you buy into this fucking bullshit argument that these immigrants are some kind of threat or danger to you? Like, what? I don't understand that. I never have. It's not true. And if they are a threat to you, then you are fucking... Laura says his agenda is his personal agenda. He's not giving a crap about the American people. Exactly. Blue Power says, I want $1 million gone a year, but I know it's probably never going to happen unless we get someone who's willing to what the masses want. But the masses don't really want it. It's just y'all that want it. This is what you guys don't understand. There's some guy was talking about this bullshit on comments today. I see him said most of the Americans vote Republican, and like, no, they don't. They don't. And the masses don't generally want people being rounded up and deported who aren't even criminals. I said before, I'm all for rounding up criminals. Criminals have come here illegally and they're here illegal alien criminals, then go ahead. Yes, Michelle, but that goes back to what dude was talking about earlier about the UN. It's just like the Constitution has become, it's just a piece of paper. We don't follow it anymore. I've said it a million times. There's no way to prove this thesis, but I've said it a million times. Barack Obama got elected, and these white supremacists were like, okay, if that's what the Constitution has got us to, fuck it. Fuck the Constitution. And they stopped. These people used to carry it around in their back pocket. People used to have the pocket Constitution, all these right-wingers and libertarians, they whip it out, put it in your face all the time. And like, now they just fucking wipe their ass with it. They don't give two fucks. Blue Blouse says, I'm a young guy and the jobs are hard to find for us. And everywhere we go, there's people who can't even speak English running every minimum wage job. Maybe it's because I'm in Minnesota, but it's bad for people my age and the young men do want mass deportation. Laura says, Blue Apollo, that's because most young Americans don't want to do the dirty jobs that the immigrants will do. Yeah, exactly. People don't want to wash dishes or whatever. Yes, Michelle. Biden and Obama deported more than Trump. They did. They just didn't make a big show about it. But they did deport a lot of people. But see, that's the thing is, Blue Apollo thinks that because he didn't see that it wasn't happening. And that's not true. It was happening. Then they were going after people with criminal records, and they still deported more. Trump just wants to round up anyone he can. It's a big show. It's a reality TV show. That's why I'm saying this. When you're watching the American government now, you have to understand that what you're watching is a very slickly produced reality TV show. But there's no fucking substance behind any of it. And if there's a real problem, he just uses his reality TV show magicianry, or whatever you want to call it. Well, that's what now you sound Sue Blue Apollo. You know who Mike Rowe is? He says that all the time. He says that Americans have been conditioned to think that these jobs are bad, and that you shouldn't do them. Like plum, being a plumber or being a fucking garbage man or whatever. JD Tuck says nobody opened the border prior to their mission. What does that mean? People have always been coming across the border. It's like what Trump says now. There's been no border crossing. It's like, you really think that's true? You really think no one's came across the border? Really? And I think there's less because less people want to come here because they're scared of getting caught up in Nazi shit and getting locked up in a camp. But there's still tunnels, and there's still people driving them in trucks, and these people are still coming over the border. You're never going to stop that from happening. Blue Pile says ICE didn't even put out the reports because they performed so terribly. What do you mean by that? You see, that's from reading bullshit. The actual statistics, they deport more people. After that initial surge or whatever, that Trump, he hasn't hardly deported anybody. You seen the deportation flights leaving this country? I haven't. Never making a big deal about it on TV. Michelle says the border is always open. That's what people don't understand. Yeah, exactly. You got to walk across. It's still open now, JD. What do you mean by that? Now they took a lot. You know, they let a lot of more people fucking claim asylum or whatever. No, you've been watching like Fox News. They go, here comes the caravan. It's like. And then you got to ask yourself, why in the fuck were these people coming in the first place? Right? Because we fucking destroyed their fucking countries. You know all the Central American people, you know what they're running from? From the chaos that we've sowed down there the last 20 years. You know, we've sponsored death squads and all kinds of shit. You know that. This is true. It's just like Iran. Why is Iran fucked up? Well, because we fucking meddled in their fucking government. Blue Apollo says, I do agree that it could have gone better. We could have got more people out. They put on a show, but I supported the idea. Plus, they wanted to make it like all scary by sending those people to the El Salvador fucking black hole prison. Like, what the fuck's that? Or just taking people to countries, random countries, and dropping them off. Like, why do you got to be inhumane about it? Like, there's one thing to say you want to get them out. That's fine. Get them. Take them up and send them back to their country. You be like, we're going to send you to the Congo to drop you off in the middle of a civil war. Good luck. Like, we've never been and you don't know nobody. Got no family or friends. You know, like, yes. Laura says, I do think trade school is now becoming more popular among the young generations because they see that a college degree here doesn't mean shit. Yes, exactly. The only jobs that are viable, like that are going to be around, are jobs that need to be done. Like I said, plumbers, electricians, people that build things, you know, mechanics, people like that. Michelle says half the people in the chat just regurgitate the exact words Trump says. They've been propagated. Yes, exactly. JD says they didn't want to go back on their own to their own country. That's not true. Abrego Garcia, he didn't want to go back because they had a order on him. But he agreed to go back to some other country. But they said, no, they're going to send him to the Congo or some shit. Because they wanted to fuck him up. Michelle says, Trump tars don't study the facts. You can't have true critical thinking without facts. Yes, exactly. I've said that before. And the internet is a stew and a sewage of misinformation and garbage. Racism, all kinds of shit. Blue Pile says, if it was more humane, I think way more people could have been done, but it's so unpopular among the left wing as a whole. There's no way the government was getting around those protests. That's true. Blue Pile says, thank God young men my age are the future. Leo says, I discovered the electricity. No, that was my uncle, Benjamin Franklin. Michelle says, Chad, ask your phones if you can have true critical thinking without facts. Right. But not even that. Like I was just saying, even if you do have like a rudimentary grasp of the facts, like I said, now if you Google search something, there's an AI summary of what you asked at the top, right? Where the AI has taken all these articles that you might have read, but it read them for you, and then it summarizes them all in just one little paragraph. And then you probably look at that and go, oh. No, he is. He is. He's just one of those groypers. Leo B says, you're a funny man. I appreciate that. Well, I am a comedian. Or at least I was. And this this show is about to be entertaining. JD says, I agree this information about Biden didn't have an open border policy. I mean, I don't know what that means, open border policy. Like that's just a catchword, man. People have been coming across the border since the beginning of time. Matter of fact, we went across the border and then decided to stay there. We were in Texas. Texas used to be Mexico. And Mexico invited people to settle in Texas. They were like, hey, why don't you come over? This is because they had a bunch of land and nobody was. And they were like, hey, well, maybe we can make taxes or something off these people. Why don't you come down here and settle? And that was the biggest mistake they ever fucking made. Because the people came and then they took their shit. JD says, I'm full of shit. I don't know what that means. What do you mean by that? I don't understand what you mean. Now, if they're you can't have it both ways, JD. You can't say these are all illegal immigrants, and then say he had an open border because if they're illegal immigrants, it means they came across the border illegally. Open border would mean, right, that they just processed all these people through, gave them all asylum, whatever. Michelle says that's exactly right. They've been propagating about the border and they don't even realize it. Yes, they've been propagating about everything. Most right-wing shit is a stew of bullshit. I've said this a million times. It's a very simple formula that they use to mind fuck you, JD, and people like you, and even Blue Apollo to some extent, is they take something that is true, right? Then they blow it up out of proportion. They pile a bunch of bullshit on top of it. And then they go, oh, this is how it is. And you go, is it? And then when you dig down, you go, well, okay, a lot of people did cross the border illegally against Joe Biden. But that doesn't mean that it was sanctioned. What is that supposed to mean, JD? What you're saying is that you don't like, for instance, the Haitians that are here in Ohio, right? They're all legal to have asylum. Now, they're not citizens, right? But they have asylum. And they're here working at these factories and shit because the people in the town, they needed workers. So they made a deal and they gave those people asylum and they brought them here. And then Vance and Trump used them as a big scapegoat. Like, oh, these illegal immigrants and they're not illegal. They're legal. They're part of the community. Now you go up there, they got restaurants, they got all kinds of shit. People in the town don't want them to go. But if you go on your media, wherever you live, or what's up, Jay? How are you? Keep telling myself what? They are legal. They have asylum. I fucking live here, bro. It's like, what are you talking about? It is real. What you're telling yourself is a bunch of bullshit. It's like when they say, oh, there's so many immigrant murders. It's like, well, name one. Lincoln Riley. I think one just happened a little bit ago, so they got another one. But for 2 or 3 years, there's Lincoln Riley this and Lincoln Riley that. Why is that? Because that's the only one they fucking got. If there was way more happening, they would have had way more cases. And they would have been throwing them up on the TV for you to see, wouldn't they? But they didn't. They just beat that Lincoln Riley horse to death. Why? Because that's all they have. And they got to scare you. And anytime an immigrant has a car accident or something, they go, oh, look at immigrant had a car accident. What does that mean, JD? So is Ice Ice Baby. What does that even mean? I don't get it. And you walk outside. It's not like there's, like I said, I can't go down the street because there's immigrants that jump out of the alley. And it's like, it's not that big of a problem. It's you guys all make it out the sound. It's like, there's a whole fucking bullshit amplified misinformation machine that's just pumping out bullshit to you constantly all day. I see it in my feed all day. But I know that it's bullshit. And see, a lot of people don't. They post things that are totally not true all the fucking time. What do you mean by that? Dude, I said, I told you, you can go back and watch this show, the previous episodes, and all these things that I've been telling you that are happening now. I told you were going to happen on this show. Now, how's that if I don't get much? How did I predict the future a bunch of fucking times if I don't get much? You know, I get it. Most people don't. That's why they keep walking into this bumblefuck trap over and over and over. You think that these people care about you? You really think that? You think Trump gives a shit about you? Michelle says JD's Trump tower won't be able to understand much, especially with complex issues. Right. They all do the same thing. They're like I said, did you ever watch that Flat Earth documentary? That scene in the Flat Earth documentary, that describes people to a T. Right? When the guy goes, yeah, I would believe that the earth wasn't flat, it was round. If you could give me a gyroscope laser that says 4.7, you know, and they go, okay. And they go buy a gyroscope laser, but I guess it costs a lot of money and the guy couldn't afford one. They come back and they go, hey, we got you that gyroscope laser you were asking for. And they give it to him and they turn it on. And he turns it on and goes, what does it say? And he goes, 4.7. And they go, right? So the world's round, right? And he goes, you can see him having a meltdown. And he goes, oh, no, something's wrong here. And that's what the Trumpers are like. They won't watch. Right. JD watch Fox News. Right, exactly. My mom has Fox News on sometimes. And I'm like, why do you even turn this on? And then this is what's fucked up. My mom watches other news too. She loves David Muir, so she watches ABC News religiously at 6:30. You know what I mean? And she watches flips on CNN every now and then, you know, whatever. But then she'll watch the 5, and she'll watch Will Kane in the afternoon. And I come home and then my mom's like, I don't know what to believe. And I go, you know why you don't know what to believe? It's because you're watching that Fox News. It's like, you have to really, first of all, understand that the right wing media sphere only exists because they can't have the truth. The truth doesn't support any of their fucking arguments. So they have to create a fucking factory that lies to you about this shit because that's the only way to convince you that it's true. Look at what's happened since Trump has become president. Now, you can sit here, JD, and put me a list of all the great things that Donald Trump has done for us since he's been in office. And all the metrics that tell you that he's a great president. I'm willing to listen. But there aren't any objective fucking metrics you can show me that are true and factual. Consumer confidence is the lowest it's ever been. Oil is about the highest it's ever been. That's like the tariffs drove up all the price. Inflation is up, not down. He wants to cut interest rates at the Fed, but he can't because the GDP is not growing and wages are not growing. It's stagflation. Dollar, the value's dropping constantly. We're borrowing $160 billion a day just to keep fucking moving. I didn't say that you're stupid, bro. I was reading her comments. I didn't say that. I'm trying to explain to you how they fuck your mind with these lies and bullshit because that's what they do. But like I said, they're smart enough to coat a grain of truth with the bullshit. So when you dig down into it, you find out just enough is true that you might think, well, they're not lying to me, you know, but they are. I didn't say that, Broadboard, at all. Broadboard says immigrants deserve all our money. America shouldn't exist. Let's just dissolve all the borders. I didn't say that at all. I'm just saying it's a better way to do shit. And what you fell into is the classic trap is people fell into all over the fucking world. numerous times. It never ends well because these policies, they don't have good policies. Oh, you're saying that. That's your opinion. But see, I'm with Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks used to say that. It's a round world last time I checked. You know, we're all human beings on this earth. We would see that and people go, you're a globalist. I think they can still have your individual cultures in your countries, but it shouldn't define all human beings. And it doesn't mean that other people are the fucking, enemy. Other people aren't your enemy. No. It's like Japan. Japan is a good metaphor for the human race in general. Because I said, Japan had a civil war for 250 years. They fought each other for control of their country. They hated the people that were over the hill. It's like they're all fighting for power and control. It's like, and like that's what the human race is, really. It's like we just never stop doing that. Like if you want to achieve Star Trek, like where we can don't you think that we could, if we had stopped all this ridiculous shit, fighting and wars and all that stuff, and we had all cooperated together, don't you think that we'd already be out in outer space? We'd already be doing great things. We would already have achieved like the level of sophistication that human beings could achieve. But we don't do that. That's why I thought it was funny, Broadboard, the other day when somebody was saying, JD says, I didn't say he was running the biggest lie. MSM and all the Democrats, nothing wrong with Biden until they all stabbed him in the back. Well, it's the same as you guys. You're doing the same thing. Trump's falling apart. He's going slowly insane, and something's wrong with him. His hands are all purple, and his ankles are all swollen up. And, it's like, come on, man. You guys pretended too. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. The real question is, why are we clinging to these 80-year-old fucking men? That's the real question. Now, see, bro. Now I hope that you're kidding. I was with you on the other part. The Sharia in America. Right? The other day she showed me her ankles, and oh, Lord. Jay says, oh, now the same. But it is the same. I'm just saying it's human nature. I never said that I love Joe Biden. I never once said that to you. I never sat here and pretended like, But you got to be honest. The economy was in better shape when Trump took over. Michelle said Biden stepped down from his role in the election. Yeah, but too late. He should have. That was a huge mistake. One of the reasons why Trump is, Biden is one of the reasons why Trump is president. Because he did not step down. Yeah, me too. I hear you, Laura. All right. She is right. I got to get out of here. I said I don't do 3-hour Joe Rogan experiences. Listen, if you just stumbled upon this show today, and you've never been here before, I do this every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, United States. If you want to send me a private message, it's Bruce Leonard Leans Left at Outlook.com. JD says no, but defending his policy, no open border. Come on. Like I said again, please feel free to elaborate, Pancakes or waffles, I love both. I love both. If you had to say I had to choose, it'd be like, man, that's hard. It's not a good Belgian waffle, pretty good though. What did Mitch Hedberg say? A waffle is a pancake with a syrup trap. Hey, well, wait a minute. What did it say? White House locked down after shots fired near the grounds. Whoa. Man, so they're all shooting around Trump. You're all right. Blue apologies, I'm cooking. Otherwise, I would have chimed in more. No, it's okay. I'm glad you were listening. Olivia says, why is Vertical Live 99.9% bait? I don't know. I got to get out of here. But like I said, Michelle says, you should probably get the video feed of the border entry points. You literally know nothing. Donut says, this is meth, though. Yeah, exactly. I've never done the meth. I don't know why. Hey, Michelle, thank you very much. And like I said, if you just stumbled upon this show today, please like the channel, subscribe to the show. If you like the show, tell your friends. I'm here live every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, United States. What does that mean, JD? Go look at them from the Biden administration. Then fucking... The videos are there. There's video. Video is video, bro. It's like, if you believe that Trump is telling you the truth about anything, I feel sorry for you. That's like to tell you the truth. I'm not calling you stupid or anything, but come on, man. How's this, JD? How about you think about how you solve that problem? Come back on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. I'll be back. And we'll be live, as always. So, again, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, United States. I'm here all the time. Bruce Leonard Leans Left at Outlook.com. Please like the channel, subscribe to the show. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Like I said, and the new people, thank you for talking. Michelle, thank you so much. Okay, JD, I'm buying. So come back on Tuesday. We'll talk about it. Thank you so much. Good night.
Standing there bathed in that light, until that day I'll keep my eyes shut tight. I do not want to pick a fight. I feel more at night.